Welcome. So I want to talk about Natasha and Mrs. Portland. Um, so I'm a little shocked about this, or maybe I shouldn't be. So we might all know, or y'all might know, that Natasha went over when Mrs. Portland was having her breakdown and doing her live, and just spiraling out of control. She became one of her mods or took a wrench or whatever. No big deal there, right? She came to her rescue, and I guess Natasha was at the casino, and or on her way back from the casino or whatever. But she says that her mods contacted her, several of her mods, and said that Mrs. Portland was having a hard time. Okay, so she was able to get reception or whatever, excuse me, and she felt that, she needed to go over there and help her out. So she did. And we all know, okay, that Natasha knows what Mrs. Portland said. She absolutely does. She knows what goes on all over these YouTube streets, no matter if she is home, at the casino, wherever she's at, she has eyes and ears everywhere. So even if she's not on YouTube or whatever, she knows exactly what Mrs. Portland did. And this is what I'm shocked about. And I think this is what a lot of people are shocked about with Natasha. Natasha has always stated that she is totally against talking ill of the dead, right? No matter who they are. That's something she's totally against. So why didn't she call this out? Why did she come to Mrs. P's rescue but not say, this isn't okay. This isn't okay what you did. Because first off, we know how she felt because we were there, right? Kind of there. Well, we wouldn't know what she felt, but I mean, we've seen the anguish. But Mrs. Portland did this to Natasha when her aunt passed, okay? Saying some awful things. We're going to get back to that in a minute. We know they have a past. They have a history. No big deal there. You can forgive, move on past that, whatever. There's been a lot of bad blood between the two. But Natasha is one of the few that has not called this out. Why? Why is that? Because she has called out a lot of things that Mrs. P has done, but only when it's done to her. See, I've noticed that. She'll talk about, something that is done bad, but only when it's done bad to her community, to someone that she cares about. Not when it's done to anybody else, in any other community. But damn it, if it is done to her, she expects, and her community expects everybody in every other community to call it out. And a lot of times they do. They absolutely do. I do. I try to find it, call it out if it's something major, about the journal. People were calling that out. Even if they didn't like Natasha, I called it out. If it's done, to Natasha, she wants everybody on these YouTube streets to be calling it out, to be outraged. And a lot of people are, even if they don't like Natasha, right? But if it's something that happens to anybody else, Tasha doesn't give a shit about it. All right? Actually, sometimes she makes content. It's kind of a joke. So are only her tragedies important? It's pretty sad. So back to what Mrs. Portland did. It makes you wonder why. Why did Natasha, why does she seem okay with it? She might say, well, I'm not okay with what Mrs. Portland said. Then why did you not say anything? Is it because of how this son passed? Because we know how you feel. You've made that clear on a lot of times about people that have a criminal background, people that have addictions. Is that why? Makes you go, People that might have mental health issues, because, we know that you don't know nothing about those kind of things. And we know that you have made jabs and stuff in your videos before on people that have had these issues. Because, again, you had the perfect life. You had that nuclear family, right? Growing up, you didn't know anything about mental health until, later on in life. You didn't have addicts or anybody with addictions around you. You were sheltered. Find that hard to believe. Find it very hard to believe. So you don't know anything about this kind of stuff. If it's true, consider yourself very damn lucky, okay? Very lucky. Not so many people are that lucky, Natasha. They're not. They struggle. Or their loved ones, they have to watch them struggle. It's not a pretty sight. It's not. So, yeah, a lot of people are like, wow. Natasha is not even saying a word to Mrs. P that, hey, this wasn't right, what you said. It wasn't right. And the thing is you have talked about her child how many times? How many times have you said something horrible about what happened? Now, I get it. She has went at you and she has said some horrible things. She has. Horrible. And you did not go at her first. I will be the first to say that. You did not. The first time she left the community or the second. You did not do anything wrong. Natasha did not. No matter what anybody has to say, right is right and wrong is wrong. Okay? Natasha and her community did not do anything wrong to Mrs. P to begin with. Just like none of these other communities or creators did anything wrong to Mrs. P when she has spiraled out of control to begin with. And that's the truth, okay? When she's been in their community. Sally Ann, okay? Granny, all these other communities, even Crafton and Kim, all these other places that she has left. And she said, they did this and that to me. Not true. Just like with Natasha's community. But the difference is when Natasha has clapped back at her, she has went below the belt. Yes, Mrs. Portland has went below the belt, absolutely. But Natasha went really low. Unlike some of these other creators that, well, let me rephrase that. Yes, they have brought up too, her parenting and why she lost her child and stuff like that. Yes, they have. But Natasha really goes at her and really did hard on her looks, used it as content, brought up videos. They would laugh about them. Okay? That's a fact. And that is after Mrs. Portland would go on and on and on and on. Just like the video I did about with Noodle Mash, okay? When she said, Natasha said, you know, if you just left Mrs. Portland alone and didn't mention her name, she would have just left you alone. No, that's a lie. That is a lie, Natasha, and you know it. Because you did not say a word about her for how long? How long? And she kept going and going and going and going with her community post, with her videos, and then you clapped back. Now, this makes me wonder. This makes me wonder, because I said Noodle Mash, this makes me wonder if this is kind of the reason why you're reaching out a hand, that olive branch. Noodle Mash, maybe some other people, right, that Mrs. Portland is having a beef with right now. There's a motive here. There is. There's got to be a motive. Okay. We'll get to that in a minute. Because I know that there are a lot of people in Natasha's community that are saying, oh no, not again. Not again. Because they felt like they didn't even want to even talk. And they stated that when Mrs. Portland would be on panel or be in talking and stuff, because she takes over. She absolutely takes over. Now, Natasha said, you know, I'm not welcoming her back into the community, but she was already in chat. She was already in there, and the people that were in there were saying, oh, Mrs. P, hearts, 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 you're so strong. You're so strong. And then later on, when Natasha was crying, talk about that later, some were saying, oh, Mrs. Portland, Natasha needs you. Really? Natasha needs you? I don't know what Mrs. Portland was saying, because I'm a blocked bitch now. Mrs. Portland went and unblocked everybody. I don't know what the purpose of that was. Well, I think I know. There was a reason why she went and unblocked everybody. But I'm blocked now. And that's fine with me. Okay, absolutely fine. But all these hearts and everything, all these people that were commenting, they're okay with what Mrs. Portland did and what she said about this deceased child and to this mother who lost this child. Yeah, you know what she said. Y'all know, okay? And there was no, Mrs. Portland, you shouldn't have said it. I can understand why you're upset, but hey, your leader said much worse to Mrs. Portland about her child. Okay? Much worse. Just saying. So now we're going to get to a few things that Natasha said. One thing I will agree with. One thing. She did say that it's nobody's business what Mrs. Portland makes on her PayPal or her wish list or when she sells her crafts. And that's absolutely true. It is. It's nobody's business. The only issue, and it's really not an issue, but the only thing that I would say to Mrs. Portland is really check those shipping charges, because, you know, $20 for a little, what was it, 5x4 or 5x5 canvas? No. And that would scream to people that, hey, this could be a scam. So I would really check those shipping charges, because that seemed very, very high. But besides that, Mrs. Portland can charge whatever she chooses for her crafts. That is absolutely nobody's business. She could put whatever she wants on her wish list. That's nobody's business. She can drop PayPal after PayPal after PayPal. That's nobody's business. And Natasha is right. She can do the same. Her PayPals that she puts down, okay, is like no other creator when they put their PayPals. Except she puts all these funky names. Except when she did the one for the attorneys and, you know, maybe this PI. To me, that is different because you were saying, you know, we're going to go over that in a different video. I said I was going to do a couple of videos on a certain subject with Natasha, and then I thought, no, I'm not going to do them. I'm going to do them now, but that's going to be a little bit later. Those are different. But when she does these other dropping the PayPals and just putting these funky names on them, it's no different than, you know, having a PayPal and just having the link there and not saying anything. The only difference with her, again, she makes funky names and she talks about them all the time. Okay? That's the truth. With her makeup sales, this, again, the same thing. To be honest, she can charge whatever she wants to charge. If you're not buying the item, unless there is fraudulent things going on, I don't know. She can charge whatever she wants to charge. That's what happens in resale. You know, unless there's some funky things going on with that, it's nobody's business. We'll talk about that in another video that I'm going to do, okay? Her wish list, the same thing. It's like no other, you know, any other creator. I don't know if anybody's talked about her wish list. I haven't heard it. She could put whatever she wants on there. It's no big deal. I think a lot of people, I've never, you know, heard a creator talk about their own money or their own PayPals as much as Natasha. So, but, you know, if that's what she wants to do, that's what she wants to do. So I do agree with her on that. It's nobody's business. But there's a lot of things I don't agree with her on what she said. And we're going to get to those. She said Mrs. Portland was just minding her own business and doing her crafts. And she was doing better. That's true to a point. I even said, you know, I thought Mrs. Portland was doing a lot better. And she was on her own page. That's what Natasha doesn't get. You would think as many eyes and ears as Natasha has out there, she would know this, and she probably does. Like I said, there's probably a motive out there for this. And for those in the back that says my tone has changed and I get uglier and nastier, because they have said that. When you're passionate about something, sometimes you're human. Your voice will change. So I don't think I get nastier, or if I do, people can tell me. Sometimes my voice does change. What I am trying to do differently is talk faster, because I do with the medicine I'm on, you know, that Topamax. My videos are dragging out too long. I talk in circles. I know that. Repeat myself and lose my train of thought. So I am trying to talk faster to see if that helps me not lose my train of thought, and so my videos don't go on and I don't keep repeating myself. So I am trying to do that, so it's going to make my tone sound different. Just putting that out there, okay? So I'm trying something a little bit different. Accidentally pushed stop again instead of pause. So I'm going to have to splice these two videos together. Sorry about that. But she does, in my opinion, like I said, she had some people that genuinely cared about her. And she wants no part of that. I've seen people say, you know, in her chat, email me, let's talk. She dismisses them. They're not big enough for her. In my opinion, she has always wanted back with Natasha. And let's see how this goes. Let's see how it goes. I bet anything we're going to see, leave Natasha alone. Natasha's going through a lot. Natasha. I have respect for Natasha. We're already seeing I stand with Natasha. It's going to be, or I'm listening to Natasha. Now, if we see a calmer, happier Mrs. P, then fine. But all I can say is good luck with that, Natasha. Good luck. Okay? You've been through it twice. All right? If that's what you want back in your community, and as much as your community gave to her, and I know they did emotionally and financially, and what she did to your community and to your subs, okay then. So we're going to move on from that because there's some other things I want to talk about on what Natasha said about everybody else out in this drama circle. She was talking about, mental health. You guys all want to talk about mental health, and I think she was talking about, Mrs. P. People were talking about, because, about how this child passed, right? Was talking about addiction awareness and mental health and stuff, and she was talking, I believe, because of Mrs. P's mental health, trying to lump that in. No, I'm sorry. What Mrs. P said was wrong. It should have been called out by you. You should have said to Mrs. P, you shouldn't have said that no matter what, but, you didn't even address it. Of course not. It had nothing to do with anybody you cared about, or it didn't have anything to do with you. It wasn't said about you, so it was said about somebody that you don't really care about, so you're not going to address it. We already got that. That's clear. Unless it's about you or someone in your community, you don't give a shit. And we've seen that. If it's about you or someone in your community, you want everybody to care, and just putting it out there too. That's like posting the child that had cancer. You were asking everybody to post that, and I did, because that's something I'm sorry that the GoFundMe for that child, I didn't even think twice. Even if it would have been Natasha's family member, I wouldn't think twice about doing that, because I had a nephew that passed away with leukemia at the age of 18. I had a niece, I've already said that had brain cancer at the age of 2, and she just turned 18. So that is something that, is personal to me, and I don't know, it's just the right thing to do no matter who it is, right? So I did post that. And when that child passed away, I did do I think it was just a community post, in love and memory or whatever to that child. And I think even at Christmas time, I did said something or whatever, because I think there was a Christmas fund or something for the same child. I don't know if I did at Christmas or not, but I'm just saying, whenever something like that happens, you want the whole community, like when her aunt passed, everybody give her a break, because she's grieving, and a lot of people that even were against Natasha did. And even some people became friends with her that didn't like her. A lot of peace was made. Now, there might not be peace now, but there was, when it happened. She expects everybody to bow down to her, just like she says, bow down to the queen. No, ma'am. You're no queen, okay? Sorry. She even told, on that one video that is out there where she talks about Mrs. P's child and says some really horrible things, she's like, kiss the ring. You're no queen. I'll always be the queen. I don't think so. Bow down to no damn queen. So she wants to talk, she has already stated, talking about other people's mental health. She talks about their looks. She already says that it hurts her feelings when people do this to her, but she has no problem dragging people, even though those that have never talked about her looks. She will drag them and talk about their looks, and her people in her community, they love it. I've said that before. They love it. That's her content. And she's like, y'all don't have no damn content anymore or out there. None of you do. You can't do shit. Your channels are shit. You know, like she is the queen of content. And she's like, you don't talk about anything important. Natasha, what the hell do you talk about that's important? Seriously. There's creators that do talk about important shit, okay? They talk about mental health. That's pretty important. They'll talk about addiction. That's pretty important. What do you talk about? Do you talk about anything like that that's important? Those things can save people's lives. That, to me, is more important than damn money all the time. Or dragging people all the time. That's all your content is. I mean, let's be real. Unless you are talking about a crisis that is happening in your life, okay? Or dragging people, making fun of them. You're talking about PayPal pulls. That's it. There is no other content. I mean, yes, your voice, you got a southern accent. It's cute. You can make comebacks like nobody's business. You can tell, I've said it before, you can tell that you've been doing this for a while, which in my opinion, I can say that Natasha has been a bully for a long time because it comes so natural to her. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But what content? And she says she doesn't need anybody for content. Bullshit. If nobody talked about you, what would you have to talk about? I'm sorry, you can only talk about your toenails, your toenail clippings for so long. People are eventually going to get bored with you. All right? You'll have those loyal people that would stay around for a while, but they would eventually get bored and they would stop listening. They would stop listening. And they would go elsewhere. And you know it. If nobody talked about you, and I noticed that, if nobody talks about her, we're going to save that for the next video. We're going to save that for the next video. But there's a lot of creators I noticed out there that they're doing other things besides talking about drama. And, you know, she's just worried about views. She talks about that a lot too. Well, I got this many people in here watching me, and you only got this many people. We hear that all the time. Who gives a shit how many people are watching? How many hate, you know, people that don't like you are watching? And she's like, well, you know, it's still views, true. But I'm sorry, a lot, you know, I think I would rather have quality than quantity. I would think I would rather have people that enjoyed watching me than hate watchers. I'm sorry. And it's all about the money. Money, 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 you know. How much money can I get today? And I get it. A lot of people do this for a living. I absolutely get it. But damn, this is not a guaranteed income. People pay because they like your content. But it's not, I got to make this today. You know, give me, give me, give me, give me. And it's sad when you go on expecting that money for that day. And I have to say, like I said, a lot of creators, they are doing other things with their channel, talking about other things and not just drama. So they are making other content. But just because they're not dragging everybody and they don't have these great comebacks with a southern accent, then their channels are shit. Or they might not have all these views. I mean, are they real views or not? I don't know. Are they real subs? I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of fakery going on out there. We're going to talk about that in the next video. But she also went on about, you know, I'd hate to meet your parents. I ain't saying that word for word. And I wonder if any of y'all got your ass beat as a child. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Some people did not have that nuclear family, Natasha. Some people weren't sheltered. Some people, you know. Apparently, in my opinion, you didn't get your ass beat enough. Because, again, in my opinion, you're a bully. And I think, again, in my opinion, you've been a bully for a very long time. Now, I already stated I didn't have parents growing up. My father was killed when I was 3. I didn't meet my mom until I was 14, but I never lived with her. I lived with her until I was 3, but I didn't live with her. I was in foster care and then lived with family members. So I had to basically teach myself, all right? But one thing I didn't do is bully people. That's, first off, I didn't do that. And, you know, my children, I had to raise, you know, basically on my own. And, you know, they're great kids, always have been. Well, you know, kids are kids, especially when they're teenagers, you know. They're not perfect, but they're pretty good kids. But my morals tell me, you know, that I'm not going to sit there and drag people, all right? I'm not going to sit there and talk about their mental health and their addictions and sit there and talk about putting out, you know, revenge porn and call people every name in the book and, you know, for content because I want that money. So you want to talk about everybody else's morals and their upbringing, and they should have got their ass beat. And yeah, I got my ass beat. I got the switch. If I had to go pick out my own switch, and if I didn't get the right one, they got the right one. You know those bloody legs with that switch? Yeah. Okay, that's what I got. I'm 52 years old. All right, I never had to spank my kids. Not saying that people shouldn't spank, okay? I'm just saying I didn't have to do that. All I had to do was take away things, take away privileges, and it worked for my kids. My kids aren't bullies. They're not. My kids are hard-working kids that take very good care of their, I can't say kids, they're adults now. They're still my babies, but they take very good care of their children. They're hard-working. But they have morals too. They help those that are less fortunate than themselves. They don't make fun of those that are less than. They would never make fun of someone that, you know, had addictions or that had mental health issues, because now they're going through it because of what happened with their father in front of them. But that's all you do is drag people. And you're saying, you know, you're talking about other people's morals? Seriously? Now, I do know Natasha has helped people out. I absolutely know that. She's helped people in the community out. There's no doubt. May she fudge those numbers? Yeah, I think so. But she has helped people in her community. Absolutely believe that 100%. But, you know, when you're making, you know, that much money, and basically it's her community that's helping, right? They're the one that's donating the money, but once they donate it, it's Natasha's money. That's what we have to make clear here. It's Natasha's money. Because once they donate it, it's hers. But yes, she has helped her community, and that's another thing that she says. What are you all doing for your... What are you all doing? You ain't doing shit. Y'all don't do shit out there. How the hell do you know what other creators do out there with their money? I mean, I don't get nothing. I have no PayPals. I have no Venmo. I have no Cash App. Nothing on my channel at all. I didn't put any of that on my channel. Okay? You have no idea. Natasha has no idea what any of us do in real life to help others out. All right? No flipping idea. Just because we don't brag about it and say what we do all the time does not mean that we don't help others out and that we don't donate or that we don't help the homeless or help our animal shelters or help those in need. She has no idea. But see, here's the thing. She's got to talk about it all the time on what she does to get that pat on the back. That's just my opinion. Well, I help everybody out in my community all the time. She even said, I think one time I gave, oh my gosh, I went through the numbers and I gave 5,000 this month to people. I mean, was that to maybe get some more donations coming? Oh my gosh. We donated all this money. That'll be saved for another video. Sorry. But a lot of times people will help others out and they don't talk about it. They will donate and they don't talk about it because they don't need that pat on the back. All right. I've said a few things that I have done. I don't need that pat on the back. I've done more. I'm sure a lot of people out there, viewers, creators, have done things and they don't talk about it. But because you don't need that kudos. Hey, I do this and I do that. And she said a lot of other things and I just cannot remember now that just really got to me. It really got to me because it's basically degrading every other creator out there unless you're in her community. But hey, she's degraded all of her creators too because basically she's saying that she is the only one that does a great job and everyone else is a piece of shit. She's the only one that makes good content. Where? Seriously, where? What content? And again, if you had nobody, and as soon as she said this, then she started talking about MRV. If you had nobody talking about you, what kind of content would you have? And there'll be times, there's been other drama going on that has, and I said I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm just going to say this and I'm going to end it. I did want to talk about other things, but I can't even remember now. There's been times, just like now, where the drama is not around her. Is that why she went over and helped Mrs. P? So that the drama could go around her again? Is that why this PI stuff was brought up? Because the drama was not around her. No, hardly anybody was talking about her. It was circled around something else. People were making community posts. It had nothing to do with her at all. Nobody was really talking about Natasha. And again, nobody was talking about Natasha. And in my opinion, she'll insert or start up some. That's what I'm going to say, talk about on my other video. So is that another reason why maybe she went over there to help out Mrs. P? So people could, because there was some clip videos or whatever made about that, So that gave her something to talk about. And then another crisis happened. And we're going to save that for the other video I'm going to do. Another big crisis happened. And she showed her proof that it did happen, but she's putting the blame on other people. And we're going to talk about that too, because it's never her fault that these things happen. But sometimes you do things that you shouldn't be doing, okay? that makes things happen, and you're going to put the blame and say, my attackers are doing it, and you make people believe that, you know, just like with their channels going down, no, you did that to yourself. Sorry. People can be mass reported, no matter what you want to say, they could be mass reported, but eventually somebody from YouTube, a real person, looks at it to see if it's, you know, if you're going to literally lose all your channels, or if you're going to lose your channel, okay? There's been many creators that have been mass reported. That doesn't mean they're going to lose their channels permanently. And how many channels have you lost? So, another crisis. I mean, how many times have bank accounts been, you know, messed with because you did something and you weren't supposed to, you know, do it like a business, and it looked like a business, but you want to put the blame on everybody else that somebody did it, and people are like, oh, somebody's hacking, and you're putting the blame, and people are like, and she even said that she believes that it was MRB that did this to her PayPal. Okay? Seriously? Seriously. I'm sorry, but some people that are getting blamed for, this is big allegations. They need to go legal. They need to go legal and stop this bullshit. Because sometimes, now if it's true, if these people that are, if they are actually doing this shit to Natasha, if it's true, then they need to be held accountable. I'm sorry, but not all this shit that has happened, just like with the one bank account, okay? If a lot of money, if you don't have a business account and you got all these funds coming in and it looks like that it could be a business, they can freeze that account or say, we're closing that account because it looks like you're doing it as a business instead of just a personal. That absolutely can happen, but she put the blame on other people that they messed with her account. Okay? That can happen. I'm with a big bank, okay? A big bank that is all over the U.S. And I have a list of different things because I said I was going to start my eBay and stuff like that. So I'm looking into the business account. And the account that I have right now, it specifically, I'm not going to get into all the details, but it specifically will tell you, and I talked to them about it, and they said, you're only allowed, sometimes you're only allowed so many transactions a month before it's going to shoot off red flags that it can look like it's a business account. That's when you have to switch it to a business account. And yes, the charges, you're going to have different charges, higher fees, okay, with the business account, at least with my bank. And I don't know, were you trying to avoid those fees having a business account? My bank, like I said, all banks are different, but my bank with the business account, the fees are higher. And it's totally different than having a personal checking account. Okay? So is that why her account before got messed with or whatever, but she wants to put the blame on everybody else? And oh my God, my funds got frozen. And we're going to talk about that in the other video. But, putting the blame on other people, if she's doing this and these other people can prove, hey, I had nothing to do with it, or whatever, they need to start going legal to stop this, to stop it. We're going to talk about that in another video. Like I said, I wanted to talk about more of what she said, but I can't remember it all because I listened late last night. But the main key was, or the main point was her not addressing what Mrs. P said about a deceased child. I don't know how old this child was, okay? It's none of my business, but it was disgusting. And Natasha, she was okay with it. She might say, oh, I'm not okay with it. Well, you didn't call it out. You didn't address it. You didn't. and she was in your chat, and everybody's welcoming her with open arms and didn't say a damn word about it. So, you know, when something major happens to you, don't expect people to, you know, call it out anymore, because this was gross. This was absolutely disgusting what Mrs. Portland did, and you knew what it was, you knew what she did, and you're okay with it. Because you didn't call it out, you didn't tell Mrs. Portland it was not okay. There was so much more. My mind is just going blank. There was so much more that I wanted to say that she said about everybody else. Yes, now I remember. I will address this before I end it. She did say that y'all never walked a mile in my shoes. You don't know what I've went through in the last year. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? YouTube bullshit. YouTube shit. Okay? Natasha, there's people out there, okay? And I'm sure some creators or whatever that are dealing with mental health issues. Yeah, you don't know what that's like. That are dealing with maybe domestic violence issues in silence. Yeah, you don't know what that's like either. That are really struggling financially. Yeah, you don't know what that's like right now either, right? Because you already put out there, you're an open book, and your real man, how much he makes, what, $75,000? You did put out there that he got laid off, but, you know, we know because you put out there what you've been making. So what you've been making is nothing to sneeze at, all right? So there's people out there that have major health issues that they're struggling with, all right? And you said you got some health issues, but, you know, you're on YouTube all the time. You're getting out, you're going to the casino. You're doing this and doing that. And I have to put, too, you know, some people, they talk about her going to the casino. I'm one to say, giddy up. Go to the casino every day if you want. None of my business. Have fun. But anyways, there's people that are dealing with a lot of issues, real life issues that you have no idea about besides this YouTube bullshit. Okay? Now, I understand her channels went down, in my opinion, because you're a bully. All right? And you have dragged people. I mean, people have videos out there. They have the clips. They were disgusting. A lot of your videos were absolutely vile. And yeah, some other creators, they get disgusting too. But the thing is, you can only do it so many times. And, you know, you put people's personal information that they told you. You know, you have a falling out. And yeah, some other people might do that too. I don't know. Maybe it's because when, you know, last Christmas when you got struck and you were on a timeout for 2 weeks, you went on your other channel and went live and collected money. That's a no-no. That's against TOS. It says right in their terms of service, you can't do that. You did it anyways. You don't go by the rules. So anyways, there's a lot of people that are struggling. And you said, you know, I had all these CPS calls. I mean, you didn't put out any proof. I don't know. You say everybody else needs to prove everything. Could it have happened? Absolutely. I don't think that's something you would have made up. I don't know. But there's a lot of people that are struggling a lot worse, okay? You're saying all this stuff has happened, okay? All this stuff is happening to you. It's all YouTube based. It's not like you're a single mom, you know, living, struggling. You're not. And a lot of these other people out there are struggling. They're literally struggling. And they have real life issues. Real life issues, okay? Stuff that you know nothing about. So walk a mile in their shoes. But see, you don't think about anybody else but yourself. That's my opinion. You don't care. You don't care. As long as it's about you. Everything's got to be about you and what you're going through. And it's all YouTube. If I built this for 4 years, you didn't have your channels for 4 years. I'm so sick of hearing that. I mean, goodness. I mean, coming up here soon now, but you've been saying this like 2 years in of having your channels. You haven't had them for 4 freaking years. Good Lord. And what have you been building? Bashing people? Streaming others? I don't know. I don't even know anymore. But, you know, here's the thing. No, I'll save that for the next video. That's the one thing that I wanted to talk about. Because nobody knows what it's like to walk in her shoes, right? Nobody knows what it's like I said, you know, to be trying to get out of a domestic violence situation, to maybe be struggling with addiction, you know, something real life or death, right? To be living paycheck to paycheck, to take care of your children, and you're trying to do this YouTube to you know, struggling. You know, you got mouths to feed. You might not have a partner that is bringing in a paycheck, right? Some people might have some really you know, medical issues where they can't get out of the house at all. And they don't have family to do this and that for them and that for them. Or a housekeeper, right? A housekeeper that they've had for years and years and years that does all the housework, you know. Hell, I wish I could have somebody, you know, cooking dinner for me every damn night, because I'm getting sick of it. Getting sick of cooking every night. I mean, sometimes I do. I order out because I'm just like, I don't want to do it tonight. So I'm ordering out. But there's a lot of people. The point is, there's a lot of people that are really struggling. I get it. The channels are down. But those PayPals made up. They made up for those memberships and super chats. Trust that. In 1 month, what? Over $8,000? That's nothing to sneeze about. It was between 6 and 8 just in the PayPal. Okay? Over the summer, what? June or whatever? If not more. Just in the damn PayPal. $8,000? 6, $8,000? Give me a damn break. All right? Give me a break. That's not Cash App or the Patreon or any of the other stuff. So, boo-hoo me a big river. With that, I'm going to go, and I am going to do those other videos because this is insane. This is nuts. And we'll talk about that on the other videos. I don't know when I'll get to those, though. Maybe soon. So, I'm still covering, you know, some on Leticia. And some updates on her. And we'll just catch you again on the next